Hi, I'm Brickroad. Welcome to Super Famicom long string of Japanese characters, and then a blue box filled with some more Japanese characters. This is the Japanese version of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. For today, I'm doing a Link to the Past randomizer run, and apparently my code is Ice Wand, Red Cane, Bugnet, Golden Shield, Hookshot, in case you were wondering. I actually don't have the flags for this run handy. I'll go ahead and put them on screen if you want to see them. Oop, there they went. Did they go a little too fast for you? Let me slow them down. There you go. So, I found I guess we'll start at the Sanctuary here and just get our free item. I found a group of flags that I really like for the game. The first one is Key Sanity. I like finding a bunch of keys out in the overworld. And go back and open the treasure box in Link's house now. Let's see, I've checked the Sanctuary is checked. So I've got my trackers on screen there. You can see the overworld map showing all the stuff that I need to check, plus all of the items and things that I have potentially found. So I've now checked Link's house is done. This is let me see if I can remember all the flags and stuff that I have set. This is you can see enemies are randomized, so like this guy's gonna be a big pain in my tuchus. Oh no, I can kill him with bushes. I do need to get some bombs. If we're really lucky, he'll drop some bombs. So the enemies are randomized. Item locations are randomized. Keys are randomized. Any key that you can find in a treasure chest is randomized throughout the world. There's a fire snake under that bush. There's another one in that bush too. My goodness. Things are already astoundingly good. I'm going to go with astoundingly good for this run. Bodes well, man. I guess we should have started at Link's house, then save and quit back to the Sanctuary, because the Sanctuary is closer to the first few things I want to check. Anyway, but yeah, there's three different settings for, I guess, the world style of the game. There's Standard, which means you've got to go through Hyrule Castle Dungeon, and it starts you with some kind of weapon. Typically a sword, but I do have the swords randomized. You can also do swordless. But regardless, your uncle, if you have swords turned on, will give you a sword to start out with. If you have swords randomized or turned off, he'll give you some other weapon. And then you go through Hyrule Castle. I have that turned off. This is a standard. No, this is an open world. That's the standard world. Standard is where you have to go down and do the thing with your uncle. So we're checking the tree here, the lumberjack hut, which we now know we don't have to get. I did have, in one of my test plays, I had to come to this spot to get, I think the hammer was randomized into that spot. And you can't get in there without Pegasus shoes and without killing Aghanim in Hyrule Castle. So kind of an important spot to check early on, just to know if you've got to go back there or not. You never know. Get some free items in this cave here. So yeah, I've got the open world, which means I don't have to start out going through Hyrule Castle. I can go wherever you want. Speaking of hammer, not a bad way to start a run. Get that hammer right away. The other option is inverted, which inverts the light and dark worlds. And it has some changes. So you start out in the dark world, and you turn into a rabbit if you go to the light world. I've done some runs like that. They're alright, I guess. But I think the open is my favorite. Open Key Sanity is what I would like to go with. And for my goal, instead of having to find all the crystals and then going to defeat Ganon, what I have it set to is take the Master Sword off the pedestal. So once I'm able to reach the pedestal, which means I need to find all three pendants, I go pull the Master Sword and then I'm done. That doesn't mean that the run's going to be super short. I still potentially might have to clear the entire game. I really don't know. That's the joy of a randomizer. Let's see, what can we start with? Starting at the bar down here. There's a bunch of items we can't get in town because we don't have bombs yet. But I can get in here. And we just see what there is to see in the bar. It's a map for the Dark Palace. I think if you have the map, you can check the world map and it'll show you what you'll get for completing a particular dungeon. I don't have 100 rupees, so I can't go buy the thing at the merchant yet either. I guess we're just going to go down towards the swamp. We're basically kind of locked until we find some bombs. Once we find some bombs, I'll save and quit and go back and clear the rest of Kakariko Village. So it does turn the whole game, the randomizer does, into this giant scavenger hunt where everything is spread out all over the world and you'll never know what you'll find or where you'll find it. I've had some really lulzy seeds in the past. I've had some, like some triple dip into Turtle Rock kind of seeds in the past. I don't want that guy to steal my few coins that I have. I've had some runs that were borderline impassable, just due to how like enemy placement in rooms work. We had one really hilarious run in the ice dungeon where one of the rooms of ice, like the slippery floor room surrounded by bottomless pit, was blocked with one of these fire bars, and I want to say it took us a good 30 or 40 minutes on stream to finally get through that particular room. So it can get pretty lulzy at times. And I do find the tracker helps because I don't know Link to the Past super, super well. Which means it's easy for me to get lost and stuck, and it's very nice for me to have the tracker on screen to know, oh, I've just picked up this item, here's some stuff that I can go check now. It also helps, I can't keep the whole game in my head. There's way, way more checks in this game than there are in, say, like a Final Fantasy randomizer. Like, I really need to know where I've been and where I haven't. We got some bombs right here. Beautiful. It's what I like to see. So now we have some bombs, and we've checked the swamp area, and you see a bunch of stuff on my map is turned blue. Those are just areas that I can check now that I have bombs, one of which is right next door to me over here. Let's not get killed by this Lionel if I can help it. I'm checking this here because there's a bunch of treasure boxes that I can hopefully grab if I can kill the enemies inside. I've only got 2 bombs. We'll see what kind of enemies I rolled. This should be alright. I've got to kill a Moldorm with a hammer, which can be a little tricky sometimes. Got him. And then we just got to do... Oh, not jump in the hole. Well, we got killed. We got bombed. Maybe we go to Kakariko Village and bomb the place open. Come back down to that cave when we have something a little more reliable, perhaps. The tracker I'm using, by the way, is called Stumpy. It tracks the key sanity rules, which I like. You can see... maybe the track. I think the tracker, the first time I used it, I found it kind of confusing just because there's so much information on screen. But basically, the left side is just a picture of my equipment screen. As you can see, all we have right now is a hammer and some bombs and the green tunic. That will fill up as we go. Sneak right through there. To the right of that, we have all of the dungeons in the game. The top row is all the Light World dungeons, starting with the Hyrule Castle Tower. I want to see what the race is down here. So it takes a bomb to win this item, and it's 20 rupees. I think I'll spend the bomb to get 20 rupees, considering I've got 40 and I need 100 to buy the thing from the merchant, whatever he's got. So yeah, we'll spend a bomb for 20 rupees. I'll tell him the other bomb to open up the little shack in Kakariko Village that always has bombs inside, so we can get our bomb supply replenished. That chicken just cost me like 2 seconds. Let's hop down here. I can have this trash. Thank you for the trash. Alright, so we're a little bit richer now. Yeah, so the top row of the dungeons has all the Light World dungeons, starting with the Hyrule Castle Tower, which is not the Hyrule Castle from the beginning of the game. That's not on the tracker, because it's not super important. Let's check the library here. If the library is not something I need, it's just 10 arrows. So I know I can knock the library off my map. I'm never going to have to come back in there, even if I get the Pegasus shoes later. And then under that are all the Dark World dungeons. We gotta go over here and open up the chicken shack now. But yeah, it has functionality for telling me what prize is at the end of each dungeon, whether it's a pendant or a crystal, and which kind of pendant or crystal, because sometimes that does matter. It tells me how many keys I found out in the wide world. It tells me how many treasure boxes are inside the dungeon for me to still open up. And it tells me which boss is in the dungeon, if I find the boss, but it's something I can't kill yet. We're just going to go ahead and do this room again. Almost got killed. I don't think there's a way for me to enter this room without getting killed, but I do want the extra bombs. With any luck, we'll get something like a hook shot or a fire rod really early here in Kakariko Village. But now, let's scare this lady off. This house here has an item in it. This is where all the chickens live. The map does if you highlight over the areas. Jeez, okay, okay, okay. It's a party. It's a party in there. Well, then, that didn't go well. Let's get some other stuff from Kakariko first. Maybe some hearts, or perhaps a sword. Or a bombos spell. You never know. Everything is absolutely randomized. There is some logic, so the game is winnable. Although one of the randomizer options is to turn all the logic off, because this game is so incredibly glitched that it's actually possible to complete the game even if there's no logic whatsoever. There's a glitch that is affectionately referred to as the exploration glitch, which basically lets you walk to any screen in the game whenever you want. It's really, really silly. And I don't know how to do it. And I won't be using any glitches in this run. In fact, the logic is so good that it even keeps track of like whether or not you have the lantern. And if you do have the lantern, or if you don't have the lantern, it won't turn on lights on the tracker that show you dark areas. Like there are some dungeons that'll say, hey, you're not ready to go to this dungeon yet because you don't have the lamp. The glove gives me all kinds of options. And yeah, we have cleared 100 rupees, and we've got the book as well. So we've cleared Blind's house. So looking at the tracker itself, the blue shapes are places I can check right now and get into right now, basically. The red shapes are ones that I cannot get into yet. The yellow shapes are dungeons that I can enter, but not completely clear. And then each dungeon has an outer and inner square. The outer square is for the treasure, all the treasures inside the dungeon. The inner square is for the boss himself. We have a bottle. We have a key for the Palace of Darkness. That's good. That's one of the dungeons where you need a lot of small keys from out in the world just to make progress in the dungeon. And we've got a very, very early sword. Excellent. Good way to start this run. Feeling real good about this. Feeling real tasty. We have a key for Ganon's Tower. And that was the Kakariko Cave, or the well, I guess. So now I should be able to get back into that chicken house and show them what for. And because we got a bottle, the young child in Kakariko Village will also now give us an item. Alright, chicken house, here we go. We got a boomerang and we got a sword. We should be okay in here now. Well, that guy ran for me pretty quick and I got scared. That's still a lot of dudes! Maybe I should beeline for the wall and try to blow it open. I can get into the sanctuary basement now. It's not something I would have thought to check if I didn't have the tracker on screen, but thankfully I do. See, I told you guys it's very, very helpful. There is, of course, also a Dark World tracker, but I just don't need to show it on screen right now because we can't get into the Dark World yet. But the Dark World tracker is basically showing me, hey, there's a couple of dungeons you can walk into now, But we're not going to be able to actually do anything in them for a while. This is not... I don't like having them penguin guys in here. Alright, 3 more treasure boxes. We got a map for Swamp Palace. Compass for Dark Palace. And a key for Ice Palace. Lots of palaces here. If you have the compass for a dungeon, and you're inside of the dungeon, it'll tell you on the game screen, like, how many treasures you have left to pick up in that dungeon. It's a very useful information. They found a way to make the map and the compass actually useful inside of the game. I don't think I need to be up here. Actually, no, I'm going to save and quit out of here. Don't need to be up here at all. There's no more treasures. Let's go through... I guess we'll try Kakariko one more time. I think I do need 1 key for... Oh, you see on the bottom left of the screen here, it tells me how many keys for each place I have, and whether or not I have a big key as well. So they actually done some hacking inside the actual game to make the heads-up display in the subscreen more informative, which is nice. No, we're going to go down here and go through this cave now. That I've got a sword, I should be able to kill those monsters, no problem. This is nothing in the light world. That's a big treasure room in the dark world, but it's nothing in the light world. And even if I go to the dark world, which I can in some areas because I've got the hammer, I still won't be able to reach a lot of things because as a bunny you can't use any of your items anyway. Here, you. Alright, how many bombs? I got 6 bombs here. We need to be very careful here. There we go. That's what we need. Okay. Do that. Well, I guess I still don't have a good way to fight them. I could knock them into holes, which means I could throw a bomb behind them. The question is, do I want to spend the 2 bombs? But I guess I will. Because I can always just re-up my bombs if I go back to town. I do like to play the LTTP randomizer a little methodically. Like, I always like to check as much of the overworld as I can before I start going into dungeons. Because I don't like double and triple dipping into dungeons if I can help it. What I mean by that is sometimes, just for example, you can't clear all of the stuff in the Tower of Hera without some way to set a fire. You need light lamps at some point. But all your fire starters might be locked in the Dark World, and you need the Moon Pearl, which means you need to go into the Tower of Hera and get the Moon Pearl, if that's where it is. This should blow them into the hole, right? Yeah. We'll wait for these guys to stack up. I know I just threw a bomb in the hole there. I didn't mean to. And there's 5 items in here. This guy gives us 1. He gave us the compass 4. Skullwoods. Key for Skullwoods, which is right there. A little more rupees. And there's our first actual heart container. Let's go ahead and go all the way down and around the coast area. Assuming the enemies actually cooperate. No, I guess they didn't. Surely with 4 hearts, we should be able to get back into Kakariko Village and get all this stuff. Surely with 4 hearts, right? I don't have any idea who Shirley is, so... Sometimes there's bombs just chilling under these rocks. I do not have a lot of the game's knowledge base committed to memory in terms of... Oh no, there's all my bombs! No, get out of here. Oh, I can kill this one. So in the base game, you can't kill any of the thieves, but because they might show up randomized into rooms where the doors don't open unless you kill all the enemies first, they've made some of the thieves killable. I think there still are unkillable variants. But I needed that guy to not steal my bombs. Bombs are at a premium this early in the game, this early on. Yeah, we can go to the Bug Kid's house. Thank you for reminding me, Mr. B.
Shoutouts to Waba Foodle for sponsoring this video, and to everybody who helps make my channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.